Imagine a quiet, wealthy suburb in the late 1980s. Behind manicured lawns and picture-perfect homes, a family lived what outsiders called the American dream. But behind closed doors, there was darkness. A darkness so profound that it would shock a nation and redefine how we see justice. Two young brothers, Lyle and Eric Menendez, were about to commit a crime that would stun the world, a crime that left two parents dead in cold blood. A crime so brutal, yet so mysterious, that the courtroom battles that followed would grip millions, with twists and revelations that blurred the lines between victim and villain. Now, decades later, the Menendez brothers are up for parole, and the nation is asking, could these men ever be free? Were they victims of abuse, as they claimed, or cold-blooded killers from the start? Today, we're diving deep into the story of famous cruelty, changing penalties, and a chilling family tragedy, a story that still haunts the halls of justice. The Menendez family lived in Beverly Hills, a place synonymous with wealth, luxury, and opportunity. Jose and Kitty Menendez, the parents, appeared successful. Jose was a self-made millionaire in real estate, and Kitty was a devoted mother. Their sons, Lyle and Eric, were bright, talented, and poised for the kind of future only a privileged upbringing could offer. But appearances can be deceiving. Behind closed doors, the story was very different. The brothers would later claim a childhood filled with psychological torment, emotional abuse, and sexual predation. They described a father who ruled with fear, a mother complicit or silent, and a home where intimidation was constant. Neighbors remembered the Menendez home as quiet, almost eerily so. No one imagined the horrors lurking behind the ornate gates and expensive furniture. Yet by August 20, 1989, everything would change forever. On that fateful night, the brothers executed a plan that would forever mark them in history. Armed with shotguns, they approached their parents in the luxurious Beverly Hills mansion. What happened next was shocking in its precision and coldness. Jose and Kitty were shot multiple times. Eric later described the scene in chilling detail, the fear in their parents' eyes, the desperate pleas, and the moments of hesitation before the inevitable. The police would later call it one of the most notorious family murders of the century. The brothers claimed they acted out of self-preservation, fearing that their father's abuse would escalate. But many skeptics saw it as premeditated murder, driven by greed, entitlement, and years of simmering resentment. The discovery of the bodies sent shockwaves through Beverly Hills. Detectives arrived to a scene that felt more like a horror movie than a real family home. The parents were dead. The home was silent, but for the echo of unanswered questions. Early investigations focused on motive. Did the brothers kill their parents for money, or was there a darker, more complex truth? Lyle and Eric initially claimed they had been home asleep, but soon the inconsistencies in their stories began to unravel. Detectives noted something peculiar. The brothers had expensive tastes, lavish cars, and a spending spree that suggested they were benefiting from their parents' wealth even before their deaths. The question lingered. Was this murder about survival, or was it cold, calculated greed? The Menendez trial became a media sensation, captivating viewers across the nation. Courtrooms were packed. Cameras broadcast every shocking testimony. The brothers alternated between remorseful sons claiming abuse and calculating killers defending themselves. Psychologists and experts entered the courtroom, debating whether the brothers were suffering from the long-term effects of trauma. Jurors were presented with graphic evidence of abuse, chilling crime scene photos, and testimony of a family teetering on the edge of dysfunction. Meanwhile, public opinion was split. Some saw Eric and Lyle as victims of an abusive household, finally breaking free from years of torment. Others saw them as unrepentant murderers who meticulously planned the deaths of their own parents to inherit millions. In 1996, after months of testimony, cross-examinations, and emotional breakdowns, the jury returned with a verdict. Both brothers were guilty of first-degree murder. They were sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. For decades, the Menendez brothers lived behind bars, their names synonymous with one of the most chilling crimes in American history. But time, as it does, brought changes. California law evolved, and appeals began challenging the rigidity of their original sentences. Their case became a lightning rod for discussions about parole eligibility, mental health defenses, and family abuse claims. Supporters argued that decades in prison, coupled with evidence of their traumatic upbringing, made them candidates for eventual release. Critics were outraged. How could sons who executed their parents in cold blood ever be considered for freedom? In recent years, petitions and parole hearings have reignited public interest. The nation is divided. Some argue that Eric and Lyle have served enough time, showing remorse and rehabilitation. Others insist that true justice can never be served if they walk free. Now, the Menendez brothers are back in the headlines. Parole hearings are underway, and the world is watching. News outlets speculate, could these infamous killers ever step outside prison walls? Victim advocates and surviving relatives of similar crimes speak out, fearing that parole would undermine the severity of their actions. Meanwhile, legal experts examine the changing landscape of criminal justice, noting how mental health, trauma, and time served play increasingly significant roles in parole decisions. The controversy is fueled by one central question: should the law treat the Menendez brothers as men who committed an unthinkable crime, or as victims of a lifetime of abuse who acted out of desperation? The answer remains elusive, hanging in the balance like a courtroom gavel yet to fall. The Menendez case is more than just a story of murder. It is a mirror reflecting society's struggle with morality, justice, and human psychology. It challenges us to consider the complexity of family dynamics, the consequences of violence, and the delicate balance between crime and punishment. Even decades later, the case remains a cultural touchstone. Books, documentaries, and podcasts continue to dissect the motives, the murders, and the courtroom drama. For many, it is a cautionary tale of wealth, privilege, and the dark secrets that can hide behind even the most perfect facades. As the brothers face parole hearings, the world waits with bated breath. Will justice be served, or will the Menendez brothers find a way to step back into the lives they once destroyed? One thing is certain, this story is far from over, and the shadows of that fateful night still linger in Beverly Hills. The Menendez brothers' story forces us to ask a question few can answer easily. Can the past ever truly define us? Or can time and circumstance change the trajectory of even the darkest souls? As the world watches their parole hearings, we are reminded that in the realm of crime, morality, and human behavior, nothing is ever simple, and every answer only raises more questions.